So it's the year 2032, and countries have finally begun to colonize Mars. In the center of the map, we have a massive Chinese colony. In the west, we have 2 American colonies. And over in the east, we have a small Japanese colony. And today, we'll be taking a look at what will happen in the coming years after the first colonization of Mars. Many more countries will begin to colonize, and it could lead to a bunch of future conflicts. So, let's take a look. So right off the start, we actually have China expanding their colony eastward, going out towards the Japanese colony over here. But we also have the Olympus American colony expanding around the base of the mountain. And the Valles Marineris colony will also begin to expand, encompassing the majority of the canyon. So now the US holds 2 of the largest canyons in the solar system. Over in the Japanese colony, they actually don't do a whole lot. The only thing they do is set up another research base over here. And now to get started with new colonizing, we actually have another country joining, or should I say a group of countries. And that is of course because the EU will begin to colonize down here on the edge of this, I don't know if this is a crater or just a plateau, but this large area right here. And they set up a colony right here, nothing too large yet. Their main base will be right here, and they'll set up a couple of research stations around the perimeters of their colony. No other settlements yet. So now there are 4 colonizing groups on the planet: the US, China, Japan, and the EU. Now if we go back to the world map, you'll see that I have colored in all the countries that have colonies. So now we're going to fill in the EU. These colonies aren't going to be administered by the EU as a whole necessarily. They will be, but they will be mainly controlled by representatives from a couple of countries. Those include Germany, Italy, the Netherlands, but also Belgium, Greece, Poland, and Sweden. Now you'll notice there are some pretty prominent countries that aren't, taking place in this, such as Spain or Denmark. But that's because some of these countries don't actually support this, and they don't want to be responsible or in control of the colonies. But now, of course, there's one very notable country that is not taking part in this, and that is, of course, France. Now, why might France not be taking part in the EU colonizing? Well, you might already know because I just colored them in. But France will be colonizing on their own. They will go up north here and claim a rather large area of the Martian desert. Right away, they set up their main base right here and 3 separate research bases. So now if we zoom out, we can see that there are lots of different, colonies, but also different countries that are on Mars. And fast forwarding a couple of years, we actually begin to see a couple more countries begin to colonize. We will head up here, and we will color in this area, give them their capital base, and then of course their research bases, which they will only have 2 of for now. Take a guess on which country this one might be, because if you said the UK, you would be correct. So now taking a look at this map, if you know a lot about geopolitics or just watch any of my other mapping videos, you'll probably notice something. And if we also look at this map, it also becomes pretty obvious. It's really only Western countries, or at least Western allies, and then China that have colonized. And if we kind of look at how they're placed, China is nearly completely surrounded by, countries they consider their enemies, right? And so China is not happy about this. China is calling on some of their allied countries to begin colonizing Mars. But China doesn't really have any good allies, or at least strong allies that could colonize Mars. They have Pakistan, North Korea, and Russia, which we'll actually get to them in a second. They have some African allies down here that aren't really allies, but none of their allies would be capable of colonizing. Pakistan and North Korea maybe, but I highly doubt they would. If India does, then Pakistan probably would, so we could see those 2 start colonizing soon. And I was looking at the comments on the last episode of the series, and a lot of you guys said you wanted to see more stuff on the world map, because this series is meant to be more focused on Mars than the real world, or than the Earth, I should say. I'm not going to focus too much on it, but you guys did ask to see different things, such as any resolution to the Ukraine war, the results from World War III, but World War III is not going to happen yet. Am I foreshadowing to anything future in this series? I don't know. Maybe. We'll see. But in the last video, I was just saying that Russia isn't going to be colonizing because they're kind of busy in Ukraine, and they're not doing too well either. Some of you guys said it would be cool to see a resolution from the Ukraine war, as I said, but also some other planned future events, such as the formation of the East African Union, which I actually like that idea. Because if the East African Union became a thing, they would be a pretty strong country. And especially if they could crack down on any like civil war issues and stability issues, they could start colonizing Mars. And so I actually like that idea. One other thing I'll point out, it's like 2030 something right now, so Bogdanville, or whatever this island is called, sorry if I pronounced that wrong, but they get independence in 2027, I think, so they're a country now. They're not colonizing Mars, unless maybe secretly they're the most powerful country in the world, this singular island here. Who knows? We'll have to see that in a future video, because right now they're not colonizing. But I'm actually going to mark down a couple more notable countries. So the East African Federation is not going to form yet. Keep in mind, I said yet. But a couple other countries could colonize, such as Brazil, Canada, any other European countries, Russia, India, Pakistan I've already said, some more Middle Eastern countries like Turkey, Iran, Saudi Arabia, even Israel, Egypt. You never know who we're going to find. And a lot of you guys said you wanted to see a resolution for the Ukraine war, so I will draw that in right now. I wasn't going to make this too much of an alternate future series for Earth, but I kind of do like that idea, so we'll just kind of roll with it for now. But most of the stuff that happens on Earth is going to be from you guys, so make sure to leave a comment down below so that way you guys can change this world map, because it will be largely up to you. But as of right now, most of the peace treaties or proposed peace treaties I've seen for Ukraine look something like giving Russia all the land here and then leaving Ukraine alone. And so I think I'm just going to give them this land. It's been stalemated for a while, so hopefully there's going to be a solution soon if they stop bombing each other. So we'll have that. Ukraine will be left alone. It will still be a democracy and all that cool stuff. But yeah, let me know if any other things you want to see on the map, because I'd actually be interested in doing stuff like maybe Somaliland gets independence, Western Sahara, Kosovo gets recognized, Taiwan, different things like that. I don't know, Kurdistan, I don't know, random stuff. You guys get to decide that. I probably won't be able to do everything you guys say for like a couple videos, just let things catch up. But yeah. Also, a quick side note about the series, I'm probably going to be doing this every Saturday, so just make sure you tune in next week. But yeah, so back to Mars. We're going to be having a country form another colony. And this time, of course, it will be China, as they're not stopping. They claim a large area down here, kind of on the edge of this basin. They set up 2 settlements where people will live, work, whatever. But then also 2 other research bases, make that actually 3. So China, actually, let's give them another one over here, and another one up here. So China is way ahead of everyone else as of right now, just looking at this. They have far more research bases, far more just settlements in general, and a lot more area. I don't know if anybody's sending military here. Probably not, since nobody really borders each other. But you never know. We could see a war on Mars soon. Who knows? Going over here to America, they are not happy that China is doing all this. And so they set up a couple more research bases in their main colony here. They set up another one over here. And they set up one on the very top of Olympus Mons, which isn't even technically in their control. They also set up another one down here in this canyon. And I set up another one near these 3 volcanoes here. I don't know if you can even see that on the map, because they are kind of hard to see. But there's 3 volcanoes there. Now you might be wondering, but these aren't even controlled by the US. But there are trade routes, or just other routes between the colonies. I don't really know what to call these. I've just been saying trade routes, but there's got to be something better. So the US actually finishes their route between their colonies here, and they're actually joining up with France to create a route between their colonies. The same thing goes for the EU and Japan, who are also beginning to work on some routes, and also Japan and Great Britain. They're going to link up some of their research bases. And Great Britain and France are also working on a common route between their two colonies, respectively. The Americans and the French finish up their route, as the EU and Japan get very close to finishing. China, as I said earlier, they feel very threatened by this. This is going to completely encircle them by their enemies. And this is also another reason why they formed a colony down there. They make a route to link their two settlements there. And very quickly they build a route between their two colonies. Next, we actually see China begin to move out and claim the land around their colonies, or around their route. I don't know why I said that. And tensions are very high between Western nations and China, as they kind of start a Cold War on Mars, but also on Earth. This is more of an arms race and a space race than anything, not so much a ideological sides with one way or another, like how the original Cold War was on Earth. It's not quite like that with the communists and the capitalists, or the democracies or whatever. It's more of who can become more powerful, which was definitely in the other Cold War, but that's the main focus of this one. And so seeing this, the Americans desperately need to ramp up their colonizing side, their colony size, and so they actually do begin to do that, expanding along their trade route, taking over the majority of the canyon and their other research base down there, taking over the entirety of Olympus Mons, which for some reason China doesn't like that. I don't know if they were wanting to claim some of Olympus Mons, but they're not very happy about that. And the US eventually takes over and claims the entire region of their trade route. And just to solidify this, they actually make another settlement right in the middle of the route. So now, what would the population of Mars even look like right now? Like, I honestly have no idea. Like, I would assume probably a couple 100,000. Like, maybe like 2,000 or 3,000 in the UK. Maybe 5,000 to 7,000 in Japan. 3,000 to 5,000 in the EU. Probably 10,000 to 15,000 in China, because they've been here for a while, so they're bringing more people in. And probably the same for the US, probably about 10,000 to 15,000. And then probably like 5,000 to 7,000 for the French, because they've been here for a little bit longer too. And they're a little bit larger. And they actually just set up their second settlement over here. Same with the British, they set up a settlement right on the edge of their territory. Now Japan's been here for a while, but they haven't expanded at all. And I don't really know why. But they won't be expanding right now, other than their trade route with the EU, and finally with the British. The French and the British will continue to work on their route, but that probably will not be completed today. And now, with the final event of this video, we have, one more thing taking place. A US satellite detects a large explosion in the desert around this area. They don't know what it is, but it's somewhere around here, and they're detecting large amounts of radiation in the area. Take that as you will. So, again, that will be the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. Again, let me know any ideas you have for the series, or just video ideas in general. It all really helps. Make sure you subscribe, that way when the next episode comes out, you get to watch it. Leave a like. And so, yeah. Thanks for watching. Have a good rest of your day.